All right, we are back with another episode of Brownie Breakdowns here for Browns Digest. Spencer German, Anthony Moeglin, going to be breaking down the tape from what was, I think maybe the best way to describe it, Megs, was it was an ugly game on Sunday in Denver. Not a lot went the Browns' way. There were some moments. They make it a one-score game. They were down just the two-point conversion gets dropped by Amari Cooper. And that's obviously a big blow that I think from there things just kind of spiraled out of control. You get DTR hurt. PJ Walker comes in. There's a couple fumbles. So we're going to get to all of it. But I'm looking forward to, even though it's going to be tough to watch at times, breaking it all down and figuring out what exactly what wasn't working for the Browns. And I think on top of that, what went into the play calling from Kevin Stefanski, because that's been a huge topic of debate these last couple of days. It's just been, why wouldn't he run the ball more against the 32nd ranked run defense in the NFL?
For sure. There's so much to get into. And really my biggest takeaway, even from just watching the game and, just kind of experiencing it, it felt weird from the start. Like right from kickoff, just like didn't feel right. Obviously it was a 4:00 kick. You're on the West Coast. Things are different, but it just felt like one of those days where, the Browns were kind of fighting uphill all game long and weren't able to do so. And as we got towards the end, unfortunately, you're going to lose a couple more guys to injury. And, the question kind of then begs is like, well, how much more can this team take? It's like you're going to be down another quarterback potentially unless he clears concussion protocol. You don't know what Amari Cooper's status is going to be. Obviously, thank God his x-rays were negative, but you never know how that's going to linger. And he's tough as nails. He proved it last year. He'll play through anything. But and also, too, then you get Myles Garrett the shoulder with the shoulder injury. And like he said, he's going to play and it's not going to stop him. But, the shoulder injury word is like taboo around these parts now. But it was a frustrating afternoon.
Yeah, you hear the word shoulder, and with everything that's gone on with Deshaun Watson and his shoulder this year, I think that certainly was alarming to fans. Like you alluded to, good news is Kevin Stefanski said Myles Garrett's X-rays were negative, or not. He said the negative X-rays were for Amari Cooper, but he said that Myles Garrett should be good to go. They weren't too concerned with it, so he's day-to-day. And I think that was kind of a nice sigh of relief for Browns fans because, to your point, man, like you asked the question, how much more can this team possibly take? And it does feel like I don't want to put it out there into the abyss, but it does feel like you're almost like a Myles Garrett injury away from everything just coming undone. So to hear that he's going to be okay means there's still obviously some high hopes for this season. And there would have been even if he wasn't, but it's just different when you're missing now arguably your top three most important players on the roster. So it's good that hopefully these injuries aren't too serious and they're able to kind of refocus. But this is definitely one of those games from an injury standpoint, from a tape standpoint, you kind of just want to dig a hole and throw the tape into it and forget about it and move on to the next one. So
yeah, no question. Well, let's we'll get into it and dive through it. And this is one of those tapes that as a player, you're just dreading it, right? You go to sleep after the game and you're like, I hope I wake up to a text message saying films are canceled. Like we're just getting rid of it. But there's just so much in here. There's so much in here that is like A, so close, and B, so far away. And two, one of the themes, and you mentioned it first, is what was kind of the goal for this offense, right? What were they trying to do? Because Denver doesn't have a great run defense, and why didn't we kind of live on that? Why did it take so long to get into that? So we'll start. We're going chronologically today, so we're going first play to the last one here. So this is the first drive. We'll show all three clips of this drive. So coming out first play of the game, right? We're going to keep this thing on the ground, and I think this is a really good one, right? It's a read option. And it's going to give DTR, and look, it freaked the camera guy out, but gives DTR an opportunity to either give it or pull it. And he obviously pulls it here and gets it a couple yards. I think this is honestly a pretty nice start. You get 3 yards. It's
similar to last week. Open the game with a run play for DTR, kind of get him comfortable, get his feet underneath him. I thought I had no problem with that to start the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And, give him a hit. Like he's one of those guys where it seems like, hey, when he can get some contact and it kind of like loosens him up a little bit. So you do that on first down and you come back to second down here. We're going to kind of open it up. Remember last week in the red area, we had that squat route where you're going to get the same thing here. My bad. we're going to get the same kind of route concept here. So you're going to get Njoku on a corner route. You're going to get Eli here right there, and then you're going to go right into the flat here with Jerome Ford. A nice, easy read for DTR, and this is all covered up. I think this is really good. Give your guy the ball in the flat, and he's going to get no yards on this, but it's still, hey, quick decisions. Let's go. Let's try and make something happen. But the problem is when you do that, right, and you get 3 yards running the ball on first down, then you throw it on second, now you're in 3rd and long. And you're going to see this is kind of a theme of Sunday's game, where anytime the Browns were in, 3rd and manageable, they were able to do something with it. But when they were in 3rd and long, they were very unsuccessful in moving the sticks. So you're going to get a straight drop back here. Now, what I would have loved to see without this little bit of pressure, I think while we watch this clip, these guys are come open a little bit, but given Cedric Tillman, who had a day on Sunday, had a great afternoon Sunday, but he's up top here. He's got no safety help over top, and he wins on his go route. That could have been the throw here. But the problem is DTR gets pressure. DeJuan Jones gets beat. He has to get out of it, and he still makes a nice play throw to Amari Cooper. Even if he catches it, you're not getting anything from that. And that's kind of the first 3 plays in your start to the afternoon.
I like where your head's at with trying to throw it up to Tillman. That's one of those plays where, like, if you miss it, so be it type things. Like, it's the first drive of the game. But I even on this series, you get the quick little run play to start the game from DTR. But then to go straight pass. I get you had to pass on 3rd and long probably. But I would have liked to see that second play be just like a straight up some sort of handoff run play to Ford. Like, just see what you get. It's the 32nd ranked run defense, and maybe you get 4 yards, and then you're setting yourself up in 3rd and short rather than 3rd and long, and then you got some different options of what you can do. I think to your point, like, that almost set the tone for the rest of the game in terms of like where Stefanski's head was at. He was going to be pass happy for whatever reason.
Yeah, and it almost feels like too you get into chase mode, right? You go 3 and out, and then you punt it away, and you're hoping for a 3 and out here, and you probably should have. But frankly, I thought Denver had a great game plan on offense, especially in their run game. But they come down and score, and we'll watch the drive here. But now you're in chase mode, and it's hard. And Kevin's done a really good job to this point of like staying within the game plan and really trying to let things work out. But he kind of got out of that, in my opinion, a little bit. And now, what I will also add to that is Denver's rush defense is ranked 32nd in the league because of Week 3 when they gave up 70 points. I mean, they got rushed for 300 yards that day. So that skews the numbers a little bit. I would say in a smaller sample size, this defense is playing much better over the course of the past.
That is true. I will add some context though that if you're looking at like the season numbers. Yes, it's skewed, but even over the last 3 games coming into this one, they were still giving up 140 yards rushing per game. So they were still giving up a league low 5.5 yards per carry. So I think there were still some numbers that told you like you could have success doing this, and we know that's been kind of the Browns' bread and butter all season. So it was weird that it wasn't more of a priority.
And we'll see it later when they start hitting those chunk runs. You're like, oh my gosh, just run the football. But we kind of got away from it. So, all right, we flip it back over. You go 3 and out. You flip it over to Denver, and what do? They're going to run it right down our throats. They had a great day, and what you saw them do is 2 things. One, they used the aggression of our defensive ends against us. Okay, so how Miles and Darius and Obo just really at some points like get after the quarterback and get upfield. They use that really against them. And then they frankly dominated our interior. You'll see it on this one's a really good example. This is Dalvin Tomlinson here, number 94. He gets double teamed and pushed right back into Sione Takitaki. Like this looks like it did last year, this picture right here where our defensive linemen were just getting crushed, and then that creates a huge seam because your safety runs down here. He's got to cover the back coming out of the backfield. And now you have a huge hole and a big gash play. So that's kind of what their goal was. We were going to try to use our defensive line's aggression against us. However, this dude right here, number 6 for the Browns, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, was a superstar on Sunday. He was making play after play after play after play. So watch this one here. This is a great one. They had a great clip of it in the TV broadcast where you can't understand the the force he brings on this hit and on this contact to this lineman, but he jacks him up. He blows him up in the hole, boom, and then gets underneath of him and makes that hit and makes that tackle. Like, that is a all-pro superstar play. He's fired up about it, and he should be.
I feel like in this defense, the Jim Schwartz system, he's been able to play just so free and just like find ball, get ball. Like, it's kind of the mentality it seems like he's had. And I think that's allowed him to do a lot of good things, even at people knocked like, oh, well, is he the right size to be a linebacker? Doesn't need to bulk up. All these different conversations we've had in the off seasons since he's been here. I think it's been encouraging to see him just be able to take his aggression and turn it into making plays like this. And he made some others throughout the game that I know we'll get to. But yeah, that was kind of, I think that play alone kind of set the tone for his day.
And it was like, hey, it felt like the Browns were kind of like in slow motion, or they were just out of it. But he was a guy who had brought it from the first snap of the game, and he was going to bring it all afternoon long. And then, so that play was on second down, right? He gets that TFL or tackle right at the line of scrimmage. And now you're in third and long, okay? And so this is a great opportunity to get off the field. Now, Russ has been known for this, to just chuck the ball up in the air. He throws those big, long moon shots, and he's really accurate by doing so. But we get the mystery defensive pass interference here on third down, where he drops back and just throws one up the sidelines to Courtland Sutton. And it looks like there's contact, but there's really not. Like, Newsome's in good position, good guarding position, and he kind of gets stiff-armed almost. Like, this one hurt because it was third down. They were going to get off the field. They just chuck one up. It's covered well, and they get a defensive pass interference, man. That was unfortunate.
Yeah. Well, it was one of those ticky-tack plays, which those are always hard to.
It's tough, man. It's tough because it could go the other way, and then you're hoping for, some kind of a gift call later in the game, but sometimes you don't get it. And then, all right, so then the next, they get first down, 5 yard, or actually we get a penalty on first down. So it's 1st and 5 here. And this is just a funny one to me when I was watching, because we know what happens later with our fumbled snap, but they're driving, right? First drive of the game, things are going, they're moving the ball. And then Russ fumbles the snap. And just sometimes we should have known right here where we weren't going to have the turnover luck, or we weren't going to have luck on our side today, because ball bounces right back to him. And instead of our guys falling on top of it and getting a turnover there, he jumps back on it. And then on the very next play, moves in the pocket, and Courtland Sutton gets by the defense. And they go from almost turning the ball over to 1st and goal at the 3 yard line. Just a tough sequence here.
We'll see this, I know, more throughout the tape, but it felt like, I don't want to say this incorrectly because it's not like the Browns haven't played other mobile quarterbacks this year. Obviously, Lamar, they've already played twice. But I did think that Russ, you talk about using sort of the aggression against you on the defensive line. I think he navigated that very, very well and showed that there's almost something to exploit there with the Browns defense. Like, if you get a quarterback like Russ, who's a veteran, who can be composed in those moments and can make all the throws because he's super accurate, like, I think that could give the Browns defense some problems. Because we talk about it at the time on this very podcast, like, when you're playing man, you got to guard for a long time. And when you have a mobile quarterback like that can extend plays, that makes your job very hard. I think that you see a little bit of that here. He didn't have to run too much in this play, but there's other moments where, like, he just kind of rolls out, escapes the pressure, and then finds somebody open. And I think, like, that sort of exposed itself a little bit in this game too, which we'll see on the tape. But yeah, this was maybe the first moment of falling in line with that sort of idea.
And Spence, didn't it feel like we were playing Geno Smith again? Like, if
that's a good example, because that was the first time we really saw that too. Yeah.
And it's like a lot of Russ had a couple where he gets away and makes big scrambles, but a lot of it was just moving in the pocket where our guys were so close, and he was able to move around and then allow his receivers to get open. And this is one you'll see, a lot of in this tape, and they did a lot of this, right? When you get cover one and you have 2 speed demons like Courtland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy, they run these deep, like, post crossers where you'll see, this is Jeudy here where my cursor is. He's going to come on, like, some kind of a route like this, and then Courtland's going to come off of him like this, and they just literally cross, right? And it just makes these corners have to chase, and then it makes the free safety have to pick one. Like, if the free safety goes and picks and guards this guy, we're going to throw it down here. But if he goes and covers this guy, then you're one-on-one up here. So it literally, this is a really common concept and stuff that you can get into in different ways. But when you face man and you can block it up front and you have a mobile quarterback who avoids sacks, these are great route concepts where they just cross each other and the safety goes one direction and gets picked off, and then your dude's wide open because it's frankly impossible to guard a guy across
What's
the field.
the difference you think between like this game for where Russ does this and is kind of doing this throughout the game, and when Lamar, like, he struggled in those moments? Like we talk time and time again about how when you get pressure, you make a guy be perfect, and Lamar, as the game went on, wasn't. Is it just simply maybe Lamar's not as accurate and as poised on some of those plays when he has to escape the pocket as Russ is, even though Lamar's maybe more of a threat as a runner than Russ is?
Yeah, it's a good point. I think when you think back to that Ravens game, our defensive line did a really good job of getting home. You know, they were really doing a good job.
Certainly a difference.
There's a couple in here where Russ misses just a little bit because of pressure, and I think that Russ is able to, you know, just him and Cortland Sutton have a really, really good like on-field relationship where Cortland Sutton just stays available to him, and he's so big and fast where you can just throw the ball up to him at different times and he'll come down there. Think of the receivers for the Ravens. It's Odell, it's Rashad Bateman, it's Nelson Aguilar and Zay Flowers. Like, Bateman's a big guy, but a lot of those dudes, they're smaller dudes, so you have to be like super accurate with it. Cortland Sutton, you could throw it within 10 yards of him and he's going to come down with it, you know?
Yeah.
So just a little bit of nuance there and difference. But this is a great concept for them and a huge swing, man. Imagine if the Browns jump on the ball after that fumble. We're talking about a whole different game, you know, but they don't, and they end up going down, hitting that play. And then the very next play, they punch it into the end zone, you know, for a touchdown. All right. So now we're down 7-0, and here you go. This is the very next play coming out of the kickoff. And like you said, why not run the ball, right? Let's get the ground game going. Instead, we pass it. Now this one is really good. So you get David Njoku lined up one-on-one with that linebacker there. This one's a bummer because you see where that ball hits the Chief right there. Like, this is a great route, great concept. But Dorian misses just a little bit on the inside, where if he can get this ball on the Chiefs' left shoulder or somewhere out here, this is a runner's pass. And we've seen when David Njoku can continue his momentum, he can break tackles. Well, this ball misses on his back end and actually turns Njoku around, and that turns a 5-yard gain. That just touch of inaccuracy turns what's a 5-yard gain, or turns a 5-yard gain, which could have been maybe a 10 or even longer. A longer gain there. So just, it's small stuff like that where on first down, you know, if you could get a 10-yard gain and get into, you know, even if you get an 8-yard gain, 2nd and 8, then the whole playbook's available to you. Yeah. Instead, you're now in 2nd and 5, and now you got to go.
So this drive starts, you just played that pass. There's 2 more passes that follow, and then you finally, after getting 5 yards on 1st and 10 at the 40, you finally get a run play that isn't DTR. Like, that's how long it took for it. It took there was 3 plays in the first drive. Yes, the first one was a run, but it was a quarterback run. It took basically 7 plays to get to a run with a running back against the 32nd ranked run defense. Mind-boggling. And
here's the run play. Now this one's funny because, well, there was a run play in front of this one, but you know, it is frustrating. It was frustrating to watch because, you know, you look at the stats at the end of the game. Jerome Ford had 9 carries for 64 yards.
Him and Hunt combined for 16 carries on the day.
Yeah, and it's
16, and they had 42 combined passes between PJ Walker and DTR. It was like, what was the game plan here?
It was tough too because, and also you got to think about it, like when DTR gets hurt, you're down. What were they down 5? They're down 2.
And at that point, you had to pass a little bit.
And then you're in chase mode, but you were like, all right, if they can get out of the shadow of their own end zone, this could be a drive where you just kill them. Because there's one drive that's my favorite, and we'll get to it, where it was pass, chunk run, pass, chunk run, pass, and you're in the red area. Like, it was perfect. And they were great runs, they were great designs. You know, so it was it was frustrating that they couldn't get it going, you know, to just run it. And they didn't, unlike what Kevin's done in the past, where if stuff's gotten haywire, or think about the Ravens game. He stuck with the game plan, like stick with it. I just think that the game plan here wasn't the best. They tried to outthink the Broncos when instead of just like, hey, let's jam it down their throats. This one here, this is a Nick Chubb special, right? Remember watching him when obviously he wasn't injured, but he gets those this long developing pool plays with a guard running. Like Joel Bitonio here looks like he could play running back, but like this just reminded me of Nick Chubb running through the hole. And this is a good play. Like this is a long developer, but this is a nice little chunk run here on 3rd or 2nd and 5. You get 4. Jeffrey Simmons is a really good player. I love him. Watch him come down and fill this hole. Boom. And just kind of stuff them. But then you get into 3rd and 1, okay? So this was the craziest thing. I know you watched the game kind of the similar way I do. They called a false start on this play because they said the center moved the ball forward. This is one of the most absurd things I've ever seen. Like, I've watched this play 100 times. I don't understand. And this is a huge play because this is 3rd and 5.
When did he – I don't even notice where he moved the ball.
They said on the broadcast that the center moved – the false start because the center moved the ball forward. It made
I think play it one more time. I think, like, right when he goes down, you see him move it, like, slightly as he's picking it up. But like, I don't see anything there.
Dude.
This was a very perplexing play. Like, when it happened, I was like –
they called a false start, and I'm like, it had to be egregious. And I was like, somebody must have jumped. I've watched this play 100 times.
And I just don't know. Like, I don't know.
Dude, it's frustrating because, all right, you come up, he's getting the first down. Like, if he goes to the left or whatever, he's getting the first down here, okay? Instead, you go back 5. Then he throws that one to Cedric, and Cedric catches it in the middle and kind of gets – and it almost falls forward. But now, here you go. We're in the same exact spot, 4th and inches, and you go to do it, and we fumble the snap. And it's like, oh my gosh, like you fumble a snap, you turn it over. It's like, oh, this is a disaster. Here comes the onslaught because everything that's going wrong or could go wrong is going wrong for the Browns. So now turn it over. And this is what I'm talking about here. It's not that Russ is crazy athletic still or can outrun things, but like just this right here. Myles Garrett makes that sack on everyone else in the NFL besides Geno Smith, Russell Wilson, and Lamar Jackson. Like, look how close. I mean, so close. And Russ feels it, does a great job, and just outruns him and turns a loss or even a no-yard gain into a 7-yard gain just by his little bit of athleticism and feel on that one.
It just felt like at times they did a better job of even containing Lamar in the pocket than they did Russ. I don't know, like, I'd have to like really go back and watch both games again and see like what they did differently because Lamar, when you think of these two guys, like you think of Lamar as more of a threat of a runner and just he's so shit. I mean, he's Mike Vick level good. But it just seemed like they did a better job of finding ways to contain him and keep him from breaking a big one versus Russ. Like, I don't know, maybe they weren't as worried about him breaking big ones.
Yes,
they did.
I think that's what popped. I think that's such a good point by you because maybe it was, hey, with Lamar, your antennas are up. Like, hey, we got to stay in our rush lanes. We got to like focus on all this stuff. And now with Rush, you're like, oh, we contain Lamar, or oh, we can do this. So we can kind of get, not that they were crazy, undisciplined here, but just enough where he's good enough. He didn't play great. He threw for 134 yards. He didn't play great, but it's just like a couple of these plays here and there were the difference in this one.
Yeah.
It was also a difference was here. So this is 4th down. And again, good rush. Here's a good rush, but you kind of get out of those rush lanes. And when you miss, now Russ has got an open field. So he gets the first down. This is incredible. This always is incredible to me when they slow it down on TV and they show the punch and how these guys, I'm sure they miss a bunch throughout the game, but when they connect on this, like this is full speed. This is fast. I mean, JOK punched the ball right on the ball. It's incredible.
In real time, how do you do that?
Dude, this is real speed. This is real speed right here. I couldn't even – I would miss the tackle, let alone he gets a tackle and he's punching and punches the ball.
And you played football more recently than I did back in my high school days, not to like act like I'm some gym class hero who knows everything about football, but but you also played you were a quarterback, so you played offense. Is this just the way they teach it now? Like, is it just like always just have your hand or is it just like an instinctual thing?
So you see here, what's great about this is it's not instinctual. Well, it is, and they practice this stuff. But the thing is, it is in the NFL, they have obviously more leeway to do it whenever. You're taught now in like college and high school to wrap up first and then strip. So like make sure the tackle is secure and then go for the ball. like JOK in the NFL is different. They'll run by, and these guys are so good now. They'll just punch at it and try to get the ball out. But like JOK's got the tackle secured here, and so does Juan Thornhill. He's at his legs, but he punches and connects on that football and just jump on it. Like, this is a massive play. This is a massive play in the game.
Yeah, huge.
So
keep you from going down 14-0 at the time, even though it happens eventually. But yeah, just crazy, huge, man. Really good game by him.
So skip a couple plays here. This is third down. Okay. This one's a tough one because they do a really good job disguising this blitz. Okay. So remember, we talk about these double mugs. Well, this is like a triple mug here. So this is linebacker, this is linebacker, and this is linebacker. Okay. You got a down lineman here, a down lineman here, and a down lineman here. Okay. So this is really a 3-4 look. You're in a nickel package. So this
Explain, I guess, to people what it means by mug.
Yeah. So the mug, when we talk about a double mug, okay, it's walking two linebackers up over top of the center. So then you plug both A gaps, okay? And the problem that creates for the offensive line is now you have 6 guys with 4 down linemen. You have 6 guys across the line. So you have to anticipate all 6 of them coming. The problem is defenses are very good at dropping guys out in the coverage. So not everyone has to come, okay? And different guys can drop back, and that messes with, hey, if you slide your protection to one side, which means you add an extra guy to a side of the line of scrimmage. So if you split this line in half, right? If you slide to the left, that means your right guard, your center, your left guard, and left tackle are all blocking to the left, and they combo guys, and that leaves your right tackle one-on-one. Well, if you slide to the right, then your left guard, center, right guard, and right tackle all block to the right. So it messes with the communication, and then the running back then has to identify somebody. Well, if the guy that doesn't come is the running back's identification, he drops out. That means there's a second blitzer coming off the edge, So defenses do that to just really mess with communication and timing with this offensive line. Now, in this case, you now have 3 standing linebackers here. So your quarterback's like, uh-oh, who's coming, right? I can have this guy come, this middle guy can come, or this guy can come too. But what they do is they drop them all out and bring the nickel back off the safety, off the slot here. So he ends up blitzing. These guys drop out into coverage, and that messes with the protection because, hey, they didn't identify him as a potential threat, so they block everything up, and now you get a free runner coming off the edge. Okay, so that's why they do that, to mess with communication. The problem is it speeds up DTR because now he's got a free runner.
Yeah.
So he has to just ditch one and throw it away. Where if he was able to,
feels like you had the wrong. I mean, not by anybody's fault necessarily, but like the wrong route concept for what was thrown at you. Because it was, if you watch it back, like it's a lot of guys getting, beyond 5 to 10 yards downfield. Like, is that Tillman up top? I think.
We got Njoku here.
Njoku, yeah, okay. Yep. So, like, Njoku's clearly going to the sticks. Yep. You got a guy on the bottom side. I'm guessing that's Cooper.
You get Cooper's Tillman,
in the slot, and then you got Tillman, and you got Elijah. Like, Moore's gonna kind of go in like deeper. So just the route concepts weren't benefiting you in this specific play because of the front that they showed you and the pressure that they bring. DTR didn't really have a chance to get rid of this ball quickly because everybody's backs were to him.
It's really tough, Spence, because this is the one where it's like, hey, you hear like the buzzword here is hot route. When your guy blitzes, normally you have something off of that. So let's say, hey, in a perfect world, DTR identifies like, this is my guy. Okay, so we're leaving this guy unblocked. If he comes, I have to throw off of him, right, and throw into pressure. Well, they don't have a release on this play. There's no even if his eyes were over here, there's no one to throw to, right, in the flat or anywhere, because everyone's still running their routes. So these were just deeper route concepts to try to get a first down. They caught us in a good blitz, or they put a good blitz on, caught us in between stuff, and it just ended up being a third down. We weren't unable to convert. A frustrating one because you get the turnover and you're like, all right, now we got to go, and we are unable to do. I
also think too credit to the Broncos on that type of look, because I think that's just kind of par for the course when you have Dorian Thompson-Robinson back there. They're going to make him have to make quick decisions because they don't trust his decision-making ability. You might not see that as much, when you have a Deshaun Watson. Then you'll still see some of it because they're trying to always confuse quarterbacks and make them miss things or confuse the line so that they don't recognize who's coming. But in the case of DTR, like, they're really going to do it because they're going to say, like, hey, we want you to prove that you can beat us. And at this point, the Broncos are picking up on the fact that the Browns are throwing a lot, and they're like, all right, fine, let's just start doing some creative things here and see if he actually can beat us. They're
and
playing
for fun,
they played into the Broncos' hands, kind of.
For fun, let's have the conversation of if this is Joe Flacco, right? Like, Joe Flacco's seen this look a million times, so it's like, all right, he knows he's coming, or he, whatever. He's seen this look 3 million times in his 19 years of playing football, So it's like, hey, rookie quarterback, never seen the picture before, just really challenge him.
Yeah, it's a good point. Very good point.
All right, this is great. This is great quarterback play by Russell Wilson. Great play designed by Sean Payton and company. So you see Russell Wilson here changing the play up, right? We're getting into an audible. New play coming. They're pointing it out. They're going to run a trap here, okay? So this is awesome. This is so good by them. They're going to leave Jordan Elliott unblocked, okay, and use kind of his rush aggression against him. You're going to get a cross block here, and then you're going to get these two guys combo blocking up to the linebackers, all right? He's going to get to Sione Taki, all right? Or he gets to JOK, and then the tackle gets to Taki. So the reason that I think this is so awesome is because these trap plays are so nuanced that it hits all within a 3-yard width right here, but it's so good. So they just use Jordan Elliott, get him going up the field. We trap him there, get the guard unblocked on Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, and then get your tackle into Taki. And it's just a really good design against that 4-down front that the Browns kind of employ here. Huge chunk play.
Yeah, that one killed him. They did that play a couple times, the trap plays, which was another thing I think that maybe gives you some concern with this defense moving forward, something that teams can exploit.
Absolutely. So we flip the field. Okay.
On the flip side, how do you beat those plays?
How do you beat those? This is tough. So this is a good play by Russ. I mean, he notices this and he recognizes it. Basically, what would happen is you can't continue to do this. The defensive line, if Jordan Elliott doesn't get upfield at all, this play's stuffed. So this is one where it's almost like, you get kind of like that screen mentality where it's like, hey, my guy's blocking away. I got to anchor down. Like if he anchors here and doesn't get movement, like this play's stuffed, right? So this is one you can hit. You just have to time it right, and you just have to hit it at the right time and call it at the right time.
I think that context is important because I think it's like, okay, they were getting exploited on that, but if somebody's watching this, they might be like, well, okay, how do you beat that? I think the idea that you play it similar to like a screen where you realize, okay, I just got to kind of stay put and work my way down, like see how things kind of develop is the right, is a good maybe conversation for people to understand what the problem is. So
absolutely. And you can see it here. He goes away immediately and Elliott kind of like stops, but he's just too far up the field. And it happens so damn quick that it's like, hey, it was already too late. But if he just anchors down here, you win the threat.
You talk about, JOK punching the ball out in real time. All of this though, like some of this stuff just in real time, picking up on it immediately. It's what makes the game so you use the word nuanced. Like there's just so many little things, intricacies that you're picking up on in like a split second, and you got to figure it out. And if you don't, then it's the difference between sometimes a first down or third down or a touchdown or winning a game or losing a game. So it's why we love this game, man, for sure.
It's the best. And so this one here, you make a good point. Sometimes you're good, you can have it called perfectly. Sometimes you got to get lucky. All right, so it's 3rd and 8. Browns put a good blitz on. Watch Russell's pocket movement. This is exactly what we're talking about. He doesn't have to be crazy athletic, but just athletic enough to just move around. And this is 3rd and 8. So they complete this ball to Marvin Mims.
Great pass.
I don't know if you remember this one, but
I do.
This is knocked down, or it's deflected by Obo right here. You see him. He deflects this ball, and it was, I don't know, a centimeter from just getting totally knocked down. But instead, he just deflects it, still knocks it off his path, and then Marvin Mims makes an incredible circus catch. Again, 3rd and 8. So they get off the field and they punt here. Instead, Obo misses it by a centimeter, and then they move the sticks.
Well, and if he deflects it anymore, so it's even further behind Mims, because it's a great throw by Russ in general if it doesn't get tipped. But it gets tipped and it still gets there. If it's tipped a little bit more behind, you got Myles Garrett dropping into coverage there, and maybe he's able to make a play on it and intercept it. Like, you
if
just
it's
never
tipped
know.
behind, Miles gets it. If it's tipped in front, Newsome gets it. If it's tipped anywhere, like anybody can get it. Instead, it gets tipped right to Marvin
That's
Mims.
what happens when you're playing a quarterback who was drafted to be a pitcher in baseball.
Yeah,
He's just got a
exactly.
cannon. My goodness.
Exactly. All right. Well, Mark Sanchez was hitting on this the whole broadcast, but again, this was one using Myles Garrett's aggression against him. We're going to get a read option here, and Morus does a great job. Hadn't pulled it all game. Remember, this is the second quarter. Myles flying down. And this is actually, believe it or not, this is called an arc block, where they will leave the defensive end. And this running back here, his responsibility is to leave that D end and arc around and protect against anything else. So what will happen is the quarterback will still read it as usual. Like if this defensive end crashes, I pull it. If he stays put, I give it. But when he pulls it, he's now got a blocker in front of him, okay? So this was the design of it. So now you have an extra hat. Now 20 just needs to do something. He blocks. He has three choices, doesn't do the right one. But it's good hustle by the Browns, but it's a nice play. And it's, again, using the Browns' aggression on the defensive line against them. Big play, gets him for third, gets him to, oh my gosh, this one made me want to, this one pissed me off. Sorry, excuse my language, but get him into the goal to go situation, right? Stop him on first. This is 2nd and goal. We get called for offsides here. The ball's on the 5-yard line. We get called by offsides here. I think it was Alex Wright. I mean, he moves back. He's moving backwards, and here is the line of scrimmage. Obviously, Judy's in the way, but this one was insane to me that they called offsides there. But anyway, it's 2nd down, and it's a good rush. It's a good blitz, and they force a throwaway. So now you got 3rd and goal. Instead, they get an offsides, and half the distance to the goal, they punch it in. Russ runs one in. All right, so here we go. Down 14-0. Offense needs a drive because it's about to get ugly here, but we need a drive. So we go to Mr. Reliable. Amari Cooper had a tough one on Sunday. He really did. Didn't get many targets, and when he did get targeted, wasn't catching it. So we go play action, and I actually love the play, right? He's wide open. This ball needs to be a little bit more up in this window right about here, kind of through these guys. And it kind of is. It stops him. It's not a horrible throw, and that's one, if that ball's thrown to Amari 100 times, he catches 99 of them. But unfortunately, that was the one he dropped. All right, so not good on 1st down, and now you're like, uh-oh.
Not the best throw, though, either. I mean, again, because it was a little bit behind him where it made him stop his route. If he leads him, I'm guessing Cooper probably catches this easy.
A little bit, yeah. Cooper will catch it if he does lead him for sure. The problem is it's tough. It would have been, have to kind of throw it over this Mike linebacker, which he should have and could have. Still if he leads him,
that's almost one of those throws though. Like, hey, it's a rookie versus Deshaun. Like Deshaun probably can make that throw pinpoint over a linebacker.
Feather it.
Dorian Thompson-Robinson probably can't.
And truly, right, Spence, if he feathers that thing and gives him a runner's ball, like we're going to get a chunk gain out of it. Instead, it's behind him. Should have still been a catch, but now it's not. So we've just been showing primarily pass plays to this point because that's primarily what it was. This is awesome. This is right, 2nd and 10. You need yards here. A nice little wrinkle where they use that motion, and now you get Jerome Ford going downhill. Like, all right, here we go. Great
More of that, please. More of that, please.
More of it. Right, great chunk run. This one is going to make you want to cry. Watch this. So we've done this. Baker used to do this a bunch. They call it the guitar fake. Aaron Rodgers used to do it, right, where they get in and they show like this. They call it a guitar because you get your hands like this, and then they roll out right. So you get Elijah on this whip route here. He's coming through. You get Amari coming across, and this is going to hurt your eyes, Spence, because you get Chief on a fake over and out. And what's going to happen is DTR was supposed to set up right about here if they block this up and throw a touchdown pass to David Njoku. Oh my gosh. Man. And we get beat. This is Christensen who gets beat and is unable to let DTR set it up. Maybe he scores, maybe he doesn't. But regardless, this is a massive, massive play if this ball's in the air. And that's what it's set up to be. But instead, we get pressure off of both sides and end up having to throw it away. Like that one hurts because
that was more so. Yeah, that's just the block. Yeah, he got beat off the snap.
Yeah, speed off the
Got
snap.
beat to the point completely.
Oh, this one hurts. Like hurts. Because let's say, yeah, it probably doesn't score. I get a little carried away with guys scoring when we're watching this. But,
well, of course you're a quarterback. Of course,
yeah,
you think
right. Oh, he's
going
gonna
to score on everybody.
Right, it's David Njoku. He'll break 19 tackles and going. But here we go. So missed opportunity there. So let's run it. Beautiful, man. Beautiful run, tough run. Now we're going. Like,
watching this back a second time. I guess
Yeah.
technically the third time I'm now watching it, but it's like you just see the missed opportunities. You're just like, oh my god.
Nice. We know I love my Wildcat wrinkles here, right? Get him in, fake the reverse. We come back to it later, but get Kareem going forward. Nice little chunk game there.
Those plays have worked. A lot of the Wildcat stuff has worked very, very well, and I like that Stefanski's found unique ways to make it look different every time or throw the defense off of what's coming. It's been a really good package for them. Useful.
It's been awesome.
And he hasn't used it too much. He like sprinkles it in right at the right times.
Yep. It's been so good. All right. And I love how we're using Elijah more and more. Starting to get him the football. This is a great route. He catches it. He's so shifty, but gets 9 yards here on second down. This is awesome. And then they get the first down. This one was terrifying to me because just a straight handoff, and DTR has his little just like throws the ball up like he was like throwing it up. Like that was a tough one, man. But thankfully Kareem jumps back on top of it.
Looked like he had some room outside too if he bounced it.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
He's got a lead blocker out there.
Yeah,
I think that's
it was Tillman coming across.
I was gonna say it was Tillman because he there he is.
And
you got Tillman. You got Cooper ready to seal off that one linebacker. If Tillman can get to the safety,
could have been something.
Yeah.
But we throw the ball up, and thankfully Kareem jumps on top of it and is alert to get back on top of it. But that's not very good. All right. So then here we go. Next play. All right. We're backed up. Okay. So we decide to go this way. So you get double like hitch and goes here from Elijah and from Cooper, who's coming in. He's going to reverse out. Problem is, and I don't know why DTR is going this way. Maybe because honestly, now that I'm watching it here,
the safety's
leaning over towards Cooper. So he's like, hey, this is my tell. And right, he's leaning over there because it's Amari Cooper. And because, this is Elijah Moore. This corner's giving some cushion to Elijah just in case of this. But it's frustrating because it's another missed chance. Like if we're on Amari Cooper here, you're coming off of it and throwing a chunk play to David Njoku, right? Because that's just coming into your vision, right? So there's another opportunity for Njoku there. Just a tough look because he did it right? Went away from the safety, threw it to the right side. But a jump ball to Elijah Moore is probably not the answer. Just kind of frustrating. All right, this one stunk to me, in my opinion. So out of all the guys we have, right, in terms of weapons, we're 3rd and 13, 3rd and 12, trying to get a first down. I'm probably not throwing it to Elijah or to Jerome Ford on 3rd and 12, but we kind of scheme it up. And I don't know who it's for. I don't know if this play is designed for maybe Pierre Strong or maybe a package where that's Elijah Moore that's supposed to be. But I know this one's a tough one because he wasn't getting the first down anyway, even if he does catch it. So it's frustrating to me, especially when Amari Cooper breaks kind of his route off. And, this is one where you could give him a chance. The pocket's nice, so you're not in rush. This one on 3rd down just really made me scratch my head.
Similar route that Elijah Moore had on a couple plays prior where he caught the pass and got the yardage. So it seems like they're really working that one, and maybe that was just the comfort thing. But it does look like you got the flat wide open, and maybe there's some room to run too.
Yeah, maybe here if you come off of it and get through, but I don't know, man. If it's me and it's 3rd and 12 in a big situation in the game, I'm probably not throwing the ball to Jerome Ford. But that was that's what happened. And, they end up kicking a field goal, so you get points. So it's 14-3. You get points, and now you're putting your defense back on there for another stop. All right, here we go, defense. Up to you. So again, using our lines rush against us. Look at these guys on the right side flying up the field. Because they're doing that, you're able to pull both your guard and tackle through the hole. Now your Obo Okoronkwo gets blown up here. Not blown up, but just gets moved. Jordan Kananchik right here does actually get blown up. Oh, wait, here we go. I'll go back. Watch Jordan Kananchik, 51. He comes through. He gets flattened. Like, poof, that's no good.
That's called most of the season on the IR, trying to get your sea legs back underneath you, not expecting it.
Yeah, his welcome back to the NFL moment, right?
Yeah.
And here he goes, bang, and just kind of gets laid out. But a good scheme by them, a great run call, and a really good job moving the football. All right, here we go. We just talked a little bit ago about how great Russ was on those crossing routes, right? You're getting the same exact concept here, okay? You're going to get Judy flying across the field here. You're going to get a crosser here, and then I think it's a deep post up top. So you're just getting this flood across the field. So when our pressure didn't help us in times past, it saves us here, okay? Because we get some pressure, we get a free run, and you make Russ throw that on the move, and watch what he misses. I'll let it run through. I mean, this is going to be a big, massive play if he's able to complete it, but he's not. And that was thanks to the pressure. So a huge stop there. They were backed up. There was a penalty that pushed them back, so they end up having to punt it back to us. So now offense back on the field, down 14-3. Need yet another drive here before the end of the half. We haven't talked much about him. We mentioned him once, but Cedric Tillman, awesome day for him. Really his coming out party for him. But watch this throw. I mean, this is a confident throw by a young kid here. Tillman's right on the bottom of your screen, runs this little out route, and this ball is perfectly thrown. It was scary, honestly, because you got Cooper running. He's not cut loose, but he's running open here. You could simply have dropped it down here, but I loved it. Got back in his drop, one hitch, throw it to his high school buddy, Cedric Tillman. How awesome is that?
Yeah, and this is where there's almost a dilemma with DTR, because I think you've seen. Listen, the completion percentage still isn't great. There's still some moments that are lacking, but you see some spots where he's spinning it and hitting some guys and making some good decisions and seeing some things a little bit better as time goes on than he maybe did the first time around. Like, you can see the wheels turning almost as he's playing. And so that's encouraging, but at the same time, like, we don't even know if he's going to be back this week anyway, but is he the best option for the team moving forward? We can come back to that question at the end, but it's tough because you want to see him keep progressing, and you almost feel like that gives you a better chance than a journeyman at this point, Joe Flacco, who everybody already has the tape on. Yeah. And you don't know what does he still have left at 38. But at the same time, it's like you got to play for now too. So it's an interesting conversation that we'll come back to.
No question about it. So after that throw, get the ball moving a little bit. All right. So we talked about this last week. There's a couple drops by our running backs in the backfield. This is why it's so important that every ball is caught, especially on these just little dump downs, right? You just check it down, because when you give your running back room and space, and when he makes a catch, just making one guy miss here on a throw that's right at the line of scrimmage, you make one guy miss and you turn a 0-yard catch into a 12-yard gain, because you make a guy miss and you can get out of bounds. So it's awesome stuff here. Now, this is fantastic in my opinion. Obviously, here we go. We got Cedric Tillman. He's at the top of your screen here, okay? So you got Elijah Moore and Amari Cooper. He's going to start his eyes down on the bottom of your screen. Yeah. And, hey, it's covered up. You're getting a curl or an in route, and you're getting a hitch there. But, hey, it's all covered up, and he steps up in the pocket and delivers it to Tillman, and Tillman spins and gets a bunch of yards after the catch. Now, this was really, really good by Dorian, where he's like, hey, I recognize that the bottom of my screen is going to be covered. Now I'm going to get back to my third progression and get it to Tillman over the middle.
And again, that's what I'm talking about. Like, you see him progressing as time goes on and as he gets more reps, and that's encouraging.
Mm-hmm. And Stefanski said it, with a guy like him, such a young rookie, they learn on every single play. Every single play, They learn something new. So it's fun to watch him grow. This one's tough, right? What did we just watch a minute ago? Russell Wilson breaking contain, throwing the ball, getting tipped, and tipping it right to his guy. Well, we have a touchdown lined up. David Bell, boom. He's lined up, wide open, going to catch this. But it tips off the shoulder pad of their defensive lineman. I think it was the guy jumping. He didn't even rush, but he jumps in the air. And I remember seeing it. It tipped right off his shoulder pad and just deflects enough that he gets out of the range of David Bell. What would have been a touchdown, they tip it away, and it goes incomplete. All right, that was the end of the half. Okay, so 14-6, and they got the ball coming out of half. So huge, critical. Get a stop on this drive, turn around and score, and you're in the game. All right, I just pulled this play because I remember watching it live and being like, "Dang, this is violent." They're violent towards Myles Garrett. Watch Myles down here. Here he is right here. He gets a chip from the running back. Boom, and then continues, rushes, and they just bury him. And like that's the treatment he gets on every play pretty much. But it's just, you obviously start to see it, and he comes out of the game with the sling on. It's like, hey, it's plays like this where he takes a shot and then jumps and then gets pushed to the ground. It's like, dang.
You know what it's reminiscent of almost? It's almost reminiscent of Gronk used to talk all the time about how physical people were with him. Mm-hmm. And obviously different sides of the ball, but it feels very similar where it's like normal calls that a receiver might get on like pass interference or something. He wasn't getting them because they know he's just this force. And I think it's almost the same thing here. Not that that was a dirty hit or anything, but just like they're continuing to just hit and blow after blow after blow to Myles Garrett to try to slow him down any way they can. So I think it's kind of similar in that way.
At this point, we've all seen the picture of him too, like getting held out of his face mask and his waist and face mask. Like if you're a offensive tackle, just block him however you can. The ref's not calling holding on every single play of the game. So whatever you got to do it. And if you get away with it, great. And if you don't, hey, it's Myles Garrett. So it's tough. It's tough for him. So that was incomplete on first down. They get a nice play to Jerry Jeudy on second down and run a little slip screen. Now it's like bow up time. It's 3rd and 1, 3rd and inches. This is the first down marker, the 35. And who's our guy? JOK. Watch him. He's right here. And they run this little pitch play to him, and there he is, man. Such a massive play. He's so good. He's so good. He's so fun to watch. And this is a huge play. They go 3 and out immediately coming out of halftime. The sidelines is juiced, right? And now we're getting the offense back on the field. All right, they punted away. Here we go. We skipped ahead to 3rd down. All right, it's 3rd down. This is the best throw, not of DTR's year. This is the best throw that we've seen through 12 weeks by the Cleveland Browns. Any of our 3 quarterbacks, soon to be 4. Okay, so we get a similar look. Okay, they're just trying to disguise some stuff. It's 3rd and long. Here's the 3rd down marker. They got to get 8 yards. All right, we're getting a big blitz here, and we don't block it up. We block up some of the guys. We get a free runner. Okay, DTR buys enough time. This is unbelievable. Buys enough time, throws off his back foot perfectly to Amari Cooper 12 yards down the field. I mean, don't do it today because it snowed. Go outside one day. Anybody who watched this, run backwards and see if you can throw anything to a perfect spot 50 yards away from you.
Like this, how many yards downfield is that? He's at the 35 and he throws it from the.
He throws it from the 11.
About the 11 up to about the 35-yard line.
Yeah, catches on the 35. So what's that, 23, 24 yards in depth? And then what did he do? He threw it. What did he throw it? Probably 30 yards from hash to sideline. So there you go. There's crazy. 54 yards. That's insane. It's insane.
Yeah. That was one of those plays where you felt like he was starting to really figure it out, which is why later on when he gets hurt, it's maybe not figure it out. I shouldn't say it, but like he's piecing things together and he's feeling more comfortable and he was showing off some things a little bit. And it was like, okay, there's something here.
And feeling great in this particular game. Like he wasn't going to solve all the problems, but he's starting to see this game right and start being able to attack it.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Yep. So this is the drive I referenced. So we get this huge play on 3rd down, and now we're going. Okay, so we go pass play on first, massive chunk run on second. Now we're here, and it's like, all right, here we go. Get a huge run on our second play. This throw is awesome. This is an unbelievable read. And just DTR here. He's going to get pressure. He's going to step up in the pocket and throw such a good ball to David. All right. So that's 3 straight plays. You go from 3rd and 8 to now you're 1st and 10 on your plus side. This
was easily his best drive of. I know it ended with his first career touchdown anyway, so of course it's going to be notable. But best drive of his tenure at this point.
And then we come off next play. He's rolling around. He moves. Great movement in the pocket. Great job, just moving enough. Really good. And that throw is freaking perfect, man. You get Chief.
Look at his footwork. Look at his footwork.
Yep.
He's like just hitching up. He's keeping the feet like with underneath him. He's not like too spaced out. He's just like trusting his cues and he's trusting his technique like that. It's textbook, man. Textbook.
So good. It's so good. And it's also great, Spence, too. Like young rookies, you get here. They're like, oh, boom. Let me just take off and go. And still he'd get 8 yards, 9 yards. But instead he sticks in there, boom, and just delivers a good one.
3 passes, man, on this drive. Just unbelievable.
So good. Now, this one I don't love. Misses this one high. You can't miss high over the middle. Remember, this is third down. Okay, so it's been all great to this point. We get third down here on the goal line. And I think he does a good job getting across. This is the right throw. However, this is very dangerous. You throw it high over the middle, and then you get your guy just jacked up.
Yeah.
I disagree. Yeah. I disagree totally with the call in full transparency.
Same thing that happens later with Cooper.
Yep.
PJ throws it high, and he almost gets his guy killed.
Yep. So we're doing good down in the red area. This was a bummer, mostly because I told everybody Kareem anytime was, and I wrote it, put my name on it. I told him Kareem anytime was a lock. Because handoff here, and I'm like, dude, will you just go outside and score for me and for all of our readers on our site, please? But just misses a cut here, cuts it back up, still gets some good yards. But I just I laughed at it because in live time was like, oh man. Okay, this one was a tough one. Really great job here. Here's your straight man across the board. You got all down linemen. You're going to pick one guy and go for it. We throw it to the Chief, and he should have made the catch. This one was tough.
I tell you what, Cooper is like a safety net for almost anybody. Like he'll make any quarterback look good. But it seems like Njoku has become DTR's like safety net. Like when he just needs a guy to get the ball to, that's where he's looking every time.
Yep. Tight ends, man, they're a quarterback's best friend, especially a rookie quarterback. And he's going to go to him, and Chiefs got to get better. This one was a tough one because the linebacker did make a good play on it. He actually did get his hand in there and punch it away. But you still would love to see that from your guy. So they come back.
Great call.
Go with the power eye. I hate the formation, but I love the result. It's a personal thing. But rolls out on it. Harrison Bryant, amazing.
Why do you hate the formation?
It's like this is 1920s football right here, in my opinion.
And that's kind of how they have to win, though, right now. Without Deshaun Watson, it feels like. So
it is. No, it truly is. And Penn State does it, and they accomplish nothing by doing it. But the Browns, the Browns kind of do it. It's just a stupid thing by me. But
no, I get it. I think this play to me sums up the conversation on Stefanski for this week, which is like, we're a week removed from saying like, guy's been brilliant, give him an extension, all these different things, right? It's okay to say that he's still a good coach and he just had a bad game in terms of like the game plan. But a play like that tells me why I believe he's still a good coach. Like that was like a nifty sort of alternative to, I guess that's kind of like a modern day wishbone type formation. It's a little bit different than a real wishbone, and you come up with a concept to get a guy open in space, make an easy throw for the quarterback, and you get yourself into the end zone. Like, I think we see those types of plays where he's able to do different creative things with different looks, and he deserves credit for that. So this is why I'm not all in on the Stefanski sucks train. I'm not jumping back on that because of the game plan. Like, it was a bad game, but he can still be a good coach, and I think that was a moment where you saw it.
Absolutely. It's funny, too, because you use that, like, modern day, like, wing T set, and then you come out totally empty, wildcat, and we're going to run a reverse pass to our quarterback who's going to find your best receiver wide open in the end zone, and he's going to drop it. Oh, this one hurt, man. This was a tough one because you got all the momentum. You got everything. It almost felt like how we felt after Newsom's pick six against Baltimore, where it's like you got all this momentum and then you miss the extra point. You're like, oh, my gosh. Like, still fighting an uphill battle.
I'd love to know the last time Amari Cooper had 2 drop passes in a game.
He's so sure-handed, man. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, and it's frustrating because it's a great play. Should have tied the game up. You're feeling great about everything, and this was like this was the peak, right? This is when it all started.
Yeah.
This was started going downhill, and this was
despite everything that had gone wrong. You were like right in this thing.
You're in the game. You complete this pass. It's tie football.
Yeah.
And, you're 14-14 and you have all of the momentum. Instead, you kind of let him back into it. JOK says, not so fast, my friend. Watch this. Just, he's unbelievable. He's fast, strong, physical. He runs the running backs, like, I shouldn't say route because it isn't a pass route, but he runs the angle for him. It's just unbelievable. Sunday was by far his best play, or his best game. Okay, this was awesome by Russ. So he gets into it. I didn't cut the whole thing, but he audibles into this. So he recognizes man-to-man coverage. Again, this is the third quarter, so they've seen this by now, and they know that when they're in this look, they're not going to drop out of anything. They're going to be straight man. So he audibles into this, and you just get a double pick play here. So you're going to get the number 2 receiver here going up the field. You're going to get number 3 going up the field like this, and then you're going to get number 1 coming in on a slant underneath. This is a common play, and it's just a man beater, all right? And they do it to perfection, okay? Oops, sorry, I kicked that. But they do it to perfection, and it just picks Martin Emerson, and now he's in chase mode, and then they get a huge, huge play out of it, and a big chunk play. It was a good audible there by Russell. All right, obviously, I fast-forwarded through a bunch, okay? So from there, they get all the way down the field. They pretty much just ran it to this point, but the defense bows up, right? It's very rare what we've seen our Browns team do and just shut teams down and, really hold them out. But really what's the mark of great defenses is when the offense gets in the red zone, holding them to 3 points.
Yeah.
Right? And making them kick field goals. And so they get the ball all the way down here. And, if they punch this in to go up 21-12, now you're back to a 2-score game and it feels like the wind's kind of out of your sails. Instead, if you're able to bow up and force them into a field goal attempt, you're down 5. So here come the boys up front, and they just totally crash this. Now, do you know what this exactly is? We talked about Lamar earlier, but this is the exact same coverage we used on Lamar a couple weeks back, where the defensive end was told just attack the running back, and then JOK come around and the quarterback's yours. Okay, same exact defense. And watch Obo go for him, and JOK has one responsibility, and that's the quarterback, in case he were to pull it.
Yeah, it's an option stopper. Like,
yep.
That's exactly what it's the perfect way to play it, to get that play stopped.
And what you need from that is smart dudes playing linebacker and smart dudes playing defensive end. And the Browns have both of those. And it's such a great play and a huge run stop to force a field goal. All right, down 17-12. This one hurts, man. And I was nervous to watch this because I felt it right away. And the tape agreed with my eyes initially. So this is first down coming off of the field goal attempt. And this is a tough throw. He throws it into a great spot. But when DTR throws it here, all 4 of the defenders' eyes go to the football instead of going to Njoku. So his eyes are on the ball. If David catches this football, I'm not kidding you, he's gone. He's literally gone. There's nobody left. There's no one left because they're all looking at the football because it led him a little bit, and he bobbles it. And oh my goodness, this could have been a massive
amazing throw by DTR too.
It was a crazy throw, a good throw, and he should catch it. But because of where the ball was, how it led him out, all of their eyes went to the football, and nobody was accounting for him. Right? You can see it right here. Even if he caught it first, he still may have broken this tackle. But because he's bobbling it, and this is the one where he kind of juggled it around, he's juggling it. If he's able to come up with that thing, there's nobody left on the football field. Just frustrating, man, because that would have been a big one. That would have been massive. We had a couple big drops. All right, here it is. So we back it up. This is third down. DTR does a great job keeping this ball alive. Keep it alive. Nobody's there. Right here, I'm like, oh, my God. Just throw it away, dude. Here's why you just throw it away. He gets throttled. Oh, man, he got smoked. This was tough to watch because –
Did you think this was actually rough? Did they call it – yeah, they called it roughing, right? I didn't think it was roughing, but
it was a big hit.
This is the hard thing in today's NFL, man. You just can't – I will say initially I thought that's going to be roughing because of how hard the hit looked. And then I saw the replay back and I was like, okay, it wasn't roughing. He didn't really – or did they call him for leading with the crown of his helmet, I think?
Whatever it was. Yeah, I think it was actually unnecessary roughness.
Okay, yeah, that's what it was. Because I think they were trying to say he led with his helmet and he made contact with the helmet. But if you watch it back, he leads with his shoulder. So it wasn't roughing. It didn't actually seem like he led with his helmet. I thought the refs kind of got that one wrong. But honestly, in today's NFL, like you see quarterbacks just get ultimately protected. That you get why they threw it, I guess. Like I think that was the thing, was it was one of those like, ooh, that looked really bad, so let's just throw the flag. Which is why, going back to that Ravens game, I'm surprised that Mike Ford didn't get flagged for hitting Lamar out of bounds, because they're just like, at this point, I think the NFL just tells officials, this is just me speculating, of course, like if it's a hard hit to the quarterback, just throw the flag, because they just want to protect that position. So I wasn't surprised they threw it, but it was also like that probably by the book wasn't actually what the call was.
And I totally agreed with you. Like that was, in my opinion, not a penalty. It just wasn't. But we'll take it, right? We'll take it. But what we won't take is DTR going out with a concussion. That's unfortunate. This we were reaching, right? So this was like, hey, this is PJ's second play. This is the fourth. We flipped the field. So now we're in the fourth quarter. This wasn't going to work anyway. We were covered up to begin with. This one was frustrating because I don't think we needed to do it. This is one where you should have buckled down. You're down 17-12 at this point. Buckle down and try to just run this thing to victory. Instead, we go with the reverse.
This is where I think it really, like the criticism of Stefanski really kicked in, because like, what are you doing, man? You got PJ Walker out there. You're down to your last quarterback. You just got your quarterback murdered. Why are you getting so cute at this point? Like, just stick to hard-nosed running the football. Get down the field. Like, you didn't need to do this. I understand he likes to work these things in, but it just didn't feel like the right time. And again, you're running the football, but you're not running the football with the guys who should be running the football for you, that were having success running the football for you. 16 carries for Nick Chubb and Kareem, or not Nick Chubb. I'm thinking way far back to me too. Jerome Ford and Kareem Hunt. Like that's just inexcusable to me.
Yeah. No, you're dead right. Like this would have been the time to, hey, we're going to try to just run it right down their throat, and everyone knows it, and we'll throw play action when needed.
We keep going back to the Ravens game.
It's exactly what he did.
They like that, the Cleveland caravan, we called it, right?
Yeah.
Like that type of stuff. Like just run the football. Like you got PJ Walker in there. Just take over this game, knowing what your limitations now are. Why do you have to get so cute with it? I didn't.
It truly was the first time where, in my opinion, I felt that he's totally abandoned something. Like, he almost got nervous. It felt like this was just he panicked. Like it was like a panic. And he never does, right? He never has. And it's like for the first time ever, he panicked and was like, hey, we got to get in our bag of tricks, when really the only tricks you needed was what was working. And that was just running it right down. And this is where it hurts, man. So they fumble. It's a tough deal. It's tough, man. It's a bad call, bad result. And then here you go, Russ, just doing enough. Just doing enough. Running around. Awesome play.
Backyard football.
Just really good. It's a great throw. It's a great catch.
It's covered up. But again, same thing we always say, Megs. Yep. Like when you're playing man coverage, you got to cover for a long period of time. When you got a quarterback like Russ, he can burn you.
He can burn you. He can move around the pocket and get it done. Well, it wasn't all horrible from PJ. There's a couple in here that are good, but this throw to Elijah was awesome, I thought. And it's a really good throw. I mean,
it was a good throw.
Just a good throw. Got back in his drop, one hitch, steps up, feathered it perfectly. Great to Elijah. So good. All right, watch Amari. Amari never shows emotion. So Amari's down here, right here where I'm on my cursor. So PJ kind of floats one up and forces one to Elijah here. Okay, now you see why Amari's going to show some emotion. If he comes off of this and just delivers one on a rope, Amari might score. But instead he floats one up, and you see Amari's hands go double palms up. Like, come on. Like, I'm wide open, right? Get back in your drop. He's not open.
Because Elijah's route was taking the corner out of the play anyway.
Yes. So flip your hips and throw this. Goes back to, remember, this looks exactly, Spence, like what we showed the Broncos did in the first quarter. Watch right here. Watch right here. When you got guys having to cover, and man, it's really challenging to cover across the field. You give a ball out here, man, Amari might score. Just tough. And then insult to injury, the day is going horrible. And yeah, I hadn't noticed this until I guess Sunday night into yesterday. People calling this a dirty hit is, I think, totally wrong. Like, this is a quarterback leaving his guy out to dry, and the safety just driving and making a football play and just punishing him. But man, that's frustrating. That's frustrating. And then Russell do it. Russell puts the nail in the coffin. Gets pressure, doesn't matter. Cortland Sutton's running wide open. He just floats one up like he used to do in his I cut it short. But like he used to do in his Seattle days, and throws it to Cortland Sutton, and that's your ball game, folks.
I think there were so many moments, especially in the second half there, where you notice it's been the theme of the season, right? Better quarterback play, that the game maybe goes differently. And for that game plan too, you needed better quarterback play. And that's why I think it was so frustrating, because we all sat at home, and I know it's easy to be like the couch potato quarterback. But you sit there and you're like, this game plan wasn't for DTR or PJ Walker. So it was perplexing. And you think that game maybe goes differently if you don't do that. But yeah, like just the throw that you mentioned at the end there to Cooper, that probably goes for 6, like those types of things. Those are plays that Deshaun probably makes, or a better quarterback just in general probably makes. And right now you're limited by that. So it's the rest of the season really is going to be about finding ways to win with whatever it is you're putting back there at quarterback. With that in mind, I'll ask the question to get us out of here, Megs. Is DTR the right person to keep leading this offense, you think, knowing that he's still kind of learning on the fly? And this is, again, assuming he clears concussion protocol. We don't even know if he's going to be available. I'm guessing not, because the concussion protocol generally takes a little bit longer. I mean, Marquise Goodwin got hurt 4 weeks ago. He hasn't come back yet with a concussion. So, but if he is, you go in DTR, you go in Joe Flacco, because there were certainly moments in this game where it felt like Flacco probably gets you what you want.
Yeah, it's really hard, man, because the what you're sacrificing is the growth of a young player, and it's like, hey, that's great in many cases, but this team can't afford the growth of a young player. Like this group is good enough that, holy cow, we've been just begging for solid quarterback play. We don't need Tom Brady. If you have solid quarterback play, this group's good enough that, and it has the talent everywhere, that you're going to be in every game. So, it's hard because DTR is making the right steps, and you don't know how that game finishes if he just doesn't get hurt, right? He gets hurt and you're down. When you're down 17-12, he gets hurt. It's like, hey, you don't know how the game even finishes up. But it's a hard decision. It's a really tough decision. Yeah. I personally, I don't know if he's healthy. I don't know, man. I'm glad I'm not in charge of it, because it's like, you don't want to, because really, Spence, that's the second time this year that he's come out. That would be the second time where he's come out, played, and then got benched, right? And he seems like a kid who's got his head on right, and seems like he's a very positive kid who's very confident in himself. But you don't know how that weighs on a young player to get benched twice, to told you're not, we don't believe in you twice. And it's like really tough. It's a tough conversation.
I think I'll put it like this, which this was, I can't take credit for this, because it was Albert Breer actually said it on 92 Through the Fan last week, that Kevin Stefanski owes it to some of the veterans on this roster. So your Myles Garrett's, your Denzel Ward, your Joel Bitonio's, your Wyatt Tellers. He owes it to those guys with how good this team is defensively and what they have going for them, and the fact that there's a playoff berth on the line here, and they're closing in on that. They can get a couple more wins. He owes it to that group to put the quarterback out there that he thinks gives him the best chance to win. So if that means Joe Flacco the rest of the season, he's got to do it, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. Like, I get what you're saying with the development of a young quarterback, but I actually think that you have a higher ceiling if DTR keeps developing this season of making a run in the playoffs than you do with Joe Flacco. But you also got to get there first. You got to get to the playoffs first. So whatever it's going to take you to get those wins and get you to that place is what you got to do. So it is a tough decision. I think this week it's probably made for him. I think he's going to end up having to go with Joe Flacco. And so maybe that's where we revisit this conversation next week and you say, okay, what did Joe Flacco do versus what did DTR do in the previous games? And what do you think is going to give you the best chance? Because coming out of this one, No rest for the weary. You got the Jaguars at home. So what do you think is going to win you that game if you lose, especially if you lose this game? This is a big one. I hate throwing around the term like must win, but this kind of does feel like a must win this weekend.
You have to. You needed a split out west, and you lose yesterday against the Broncos. But like you said, don't get any easier. If you blow this one, you come home to the Jags, man. It's like, hey, you got it. You have to get this game. Like they have to win this football game. And the worst part is, like, the Rams are playing good. They beat the Cardinals last week. Yes, it's the Cardinals, but they stomped them. Man, and what do good teams do to bad teams? They beat the heck out of them, and that's exactly what the Rams did, man. And it's just like, dang it, everything was kind of rolling, and it feels you're 7-4, but you feel like the sky's falling almost because you have to win Sunday, and then you got to find 2 or 3 more wins, and you certainly can. But with the way the AFC is shaping out, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, and this back half of the schedule, I think when it came out, you probably thought it was a little bit lighter when you had teams like the Texans on there. No, the Jets without Aaron Rodgers, although he might be back by then if all these rumors and whatever the hell's going on are true. So now it's looking a little bit more daunting because Houston is good. The Jets could have him back. The Bengals feel like one that you could get, but then you're sort of playing with fire going into the last week of the season, maybe needing to win if you're banking on that one. So it's an interesting stretch. We won't talk about the fact that your biggest rival actually has one of the easiest strength of schedules the rest of the way, and you have probably more of a middle of the road strength of schedule. But it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out, and it obviously starts with who's under center next weekend against the Rams. Well, speaking of the Rams, we'll be back next week with another edition, breaking down the tape from that one. Hopefully, it's a little bit prettier than what we got this week, and Kevin Stefanski has the right game plan, pulls all the right strings, and we're talking about a Browns win instead. Until then, be sure to keep on following along at the Browns Digest YouTube page and, of course, at brownsdigest.com.